Hello, America. Today, I want to talk about something I saw on, hold on a second, Breaking Point, and it the talk is about the trip to China and Iran. Okay, so okay, and today is May the 14th, and okay, so the trip to China, and I'm gonna give you my perspective, and I get this off from Breaking Point, and Crystal Ball. She was asking Professor Robert Pape about Trump. How is he going to exit Iran with an honorable way? And so the professor, he says that, let me see if I can quote that. Yeah, quote, Trump is the master of sleight of hand, like a magician. So I, let me I guess go over that a little bit, because when you're talking about Trump, and I think the people that believe him, no matter what you're gonna say, you're not gonna change their mind. And but anyway, I'm gonna keep bringing the receipts, and it's if they do, it'd be great. Anyway, so you know, I just feel like that Trump, a lot of time he says one thing and then something else happened, or he does something else. So like on the campaign trail, he says that he's gonna lower prices day one, right? Fight inflations, and he is not gonna start any new war, forever war. And these two things are, it's totally opposite of what he promised. And and prices, instead of staying the way they were, it's probably gone up a lot. Especially because I was looking at the bond market. Okay, so those rates have gone up quite a bit, and because of that happened, it was triggered by increases in price, right? Prices are rising, and therefore investors, they want to make more money, because of the inflation, they're making less. So we have that also rising, and then because of that trigger, people buying cars, houses, and businesses want to expand and buy things, construct things. They're going to pay higher prices because the interest rate has gone up, and that is working the opposite way. Meaning that instead of the economy running smoother, it's kind of slowing down. So yeah, those are the two big things, right? And the sleight of hands, again, you know, I'm that's where I am, and I'm gonna go with that. Okay. So the other thing is the White House ballroom, right? You know, it's like uh, he says that there's no taxpayer funding for the ballroom, and let me quote. He won't interfere with current building. It will be near it, but not touching it, and pays total respect to the existing building. And you know, that didn't happen, right? In October, boom, no more East Wing. Anyway, so that's a sleight of hands, right? Um, anyway, and the other big thing is the Iran, right? So in February 2026, from the 21st to the 25th, and I think even 26th, they they had a lot of talks, and they were getting, there was a lot of progress. And then on the 27th, you know, he green light an attack, and on the 28th, and it happens, right? So, yeah, sleight of hands, okay? And then the other part is in 2025, in April and May, there were a lot of talks and negotiations, right? And, you know, and they were going to continue to do some more talking on June the 15th. That's what it was scheduled. And that was the sixth round of negotiations. But what happened was on the 13th, June 13th, and they carry out the attack for 12 days. So again, sleight of hand. So, and this brings me back to I don't know about you, but I just feel like it's kind of hard to rely on something like that, you know. And you know, start thinking about credibilities, you know, and going back to the questions with Crystal Ball, you know, is there an honorable way out? I think it's just going to be really hard because just the way Trump is, right? I think, you know, you can't play it both ways. So how you see it is like, I think he does want to play it both ways, you know, the right hand and the left hand, but I don't see how in this situation. So maybe there is. So that is my talk, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about another Professor Jing Shirun. I think he has a channel. It's called Predictive History, and today he's talking about the China trip. And my take is that China and America is going to be, you know, they're going to go their own way. You know, they're going to depend on each other less and less. But according to him, it's in fact the opposite, right? He's saying that they're going to make a deal and they're going to work together because his point is that because Trump brought an entourage of CEOs that are financial CEOs and tech and AI, and I think that's where most of the focuses are. And then he also talked about Taiwan, and you know, he have his predictions, and you know, a lot of it makes sense, but I don't know if I can agree with everything that he says. So the one thing that I agree with him is about the debt. Okay, the $39 trillion, and it's going to be very hard for America to pay that back. Okay, so one way to get around that is he was talking about Bitcoin, not Bit, stable coins, right? Stable coins. So when you invest in, or people around the world, because that's Trump wants to get Chinese people to invest in that, and that's really smart on Trump's part, right? Because when you put money into stablecoin, it's dollar for dollar, right? And what the institution is going to do is they're going to take that money and they're going to buy treasury bond, U.S. treasury bonds, right? And then what happened is that money, right, is actually financing the debt, right? So it's like free. There's no interest on it. It's like, I don't know, like a relative give you some money and let you borrow, and there's no interest. So, but you think about like a lot of people in China, right? And that's not, to me, that's not a good deal for them. And I don't know why. Well, a lot of them would do that. But he's saying that many people in China, they don't want to be in China. They want to convert it into dollars, and probably come to America. But I don't know. I don't know if I can agree that a lot of them want to do that. Perhaps some, maybe very top end kind of guy, people, very, people with a lot of money. Anyway, so I do agree with that part, and perhaps I can, maybe continue the talk later at another session, another post. So yeah, I think I'll come back to that. So maybe we talk about a little more about that financing thing and the debt, the AI, and some more other trade around the globe, especially around South American. Yeah, so to close this out, I'd like to apologize that I made a mistake on my previous post that I call Heather Cock Richardson, which I use HRC, but her initial is actually HCR. So I apologize for that. That was my mistake, and it couldn't happen to a nicer person. But anyway, thank you for watching today and listening to me, and you have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye bye.